feel like I'm on the dating game.
You do it 17 times.
Governor Malloy, welcome to Norwich.
Thank you.
My name is Patrick Dolan, and I'm a 27-year employee with the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. I'm not on duty, and I'm not representing my agency. But I'd like you to cut the cost of corruption in state leadership. Locally,
Okay.
we have problems with staff being openly, repeatedly, directly threatened with the loss of their jobs and their careers for having called as mandated reporters to the DCF Child Abuse Hotline. This has happened on a number of occasions. We have complained about it. It's gotten worse. There's a cost to this corruption. When you, for whatever their reasons, they don't want us to be fulfilling those obligations, but they put us in a very, very awkward position. They've gone so far as to stonewall DCF attempted child abuse investigations. They've gone so far as testifying in an unrelated case in federal court in Hartford, perjured themselves. My question is, would you support an overdue, requested and promised review of these events so that we can get back to doing our work? DCF, God love them, can get back to doing their work. And those that are found, if you do find that there are people that have been ethically challenged in leadership, we think that a review could save you up to $620,000 in cost of pay and benefits over the next 2 years if you found that that was adequate.
Well, listen, of course the answer to that question is that I would be interested in. And this young man will give you a card. I'd be happy to take any an email, documentation, letter. By the way, keep reporting. If you think a child is being abused, you're legally, as you know, legally obligated to report it. My wife runs a rape crisis center. She understands her legal obligation to report abuse, and you have to do that. And I want to thank you for doing it. If there's a problem there, I want to know about it. And I can't tell you that I'll personally investigate it, but I'll make sure it's investigated.
I just wanted to make the point that this corruption doesn't just start with accepting hot tubs and cigars and Hartford.
Yeah.
It really does start with accepting lies and threats and knowledge.
I understand it. I understand your position. I'd love to hear from you on it. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Rodney Boyd. Thank you for coming down here this evening. There's not a wicked governor down here to listen to us. I would kind of like to know how you are actually going to improve the business climate in this state. I worked as an electrician for years and years with Pratt Whitney and Electric Boat, Prizes, places like that, and retired as a production controller because, quite frankly, there wasn't any work for electricians. My grandkids aren't going to have the jobs that I had available to me. Pratt Whitney saw it downsized tremendously. When I worked there, there were 46,000 people there. Now, the only thing I see expanding in this state is social services. And I coined a little phrase years ago of how low can I go so that I can stay on city housing, stay in the different health things of public finance. And it just seems like we're drowning in all of these agencies and stuff that I just watched them in 45 years. I just watched them expand to the point. I don't think we can afford this anymore.
Yeah, you know what? I think there are very valid points that you're making. I don't think we can afford some of the things that we're doing, and I'm trying to demonstrate my belief in that in this budget. But I got to tell you, you know, you can't turn a ship on a dime. And you asked the first question is, what are we doing to change our relationship with business to be more attractive? You know, in the short number of weeks that I've been governor of the state, I have been to many of our biggest employers, including manufacturers, including Pratt & Whitney and UTC, and most of the major insurance companies. Last week I was out at Gerber Scientific, 450 people, 375 people employed there. I've been down to EB. You know what happens when I walk in? I say, this is the first time a governor has been here. All right? We've got to change how we do business. We have to understand that we don't. If we keep doing for the next 22 years what we've done the last 22 years, we'll be one of the 2 states that grows no jobs. I mean, let's put it in perspective. There was a period of time in which 48 states in this country shared the creation of 22 million jobs. We got none of them, and Michigan got none of them. But Michigan actually had retained a larger percentage of the jobs they had 10 years ago than we have. That's how bad we are, and we are going to change direction. I did it once as a mayor. I'll do it again as a governor.
The other thing that I wanted to ask is our indebtedness. According to the Wall Street Journal, we are indebted per person about $1,800 each one. This is higher than the state of California. And it's only the state of California that we actually hear about. But there are some instances where people even encourage more indebtedness. And we cannot keep going into debt to finance the future.
So
We're killing us.
In my budget, and thank you very much. Well, in my budget, what I've said is we are not going to borrow money to cover operating expenses. And by the way, the gentleman was an electrician, so let me say this. By borrowing money to cover operating expenses, we squeeze out our ability to borrow money for long-range investments in infrastructure. That kills jobs and makes us less competitive. So ultimately, I want to make the kinds of investments in transportation that will allow us to compete with the other states. That's why we should not borrow money for operating expenses.